Hi, this is Andrew from Precursor Productions, and in this video we're going to talk about an important question, and that question is, what is stereo mastering? And of course, what do I need to bring to a stereo mastering session as well? So mastering, I think, is one of those topics that people, I think, know the least about. We get asked the question, what is mastering, just as an open-ended question all the time. There are two basic forms of mastering, so why we're breaking this down into stereo mastering for this video is because there's another type of mastering called stem mastering, which we'll talk about in another one of our videos. Stereo mastering is the most common type of mastering. It's a form of mastering where we take a high-resolution stereo file, usually a digital file nowadays, and we perform a bunch of final processing tasks on it in a special mastering environment. So the mastering engineer performs a bunch of specialized tasks to optimize that recording for release. So the mix comes into the mastering engineer's session as something that's fairly finished, but the last opportunity to fix any blemishes and to enhance the mix so that it sounds as good as possible in the widest number of systems is in the mastering session. Now, the stereo mix is processed through a bunch of stereo processors, which are very specific to the mastering process. They are things like EQs and compressors, which relate to what we do in mixing, but the focus on mastering is for very, very high resolution, and of course it's ultimately for the best translatability, which means we want the recording to translate to the widest number of playback systems possible, and formats as well too. So when we talk about formats, we talk about things like vinyl, CD, MP3, FLAC, etc. When we talk about various different playback systems, we're talking about everything from earbuds, car stereos, hi-fi systems, club systems, etc. We want the recording to sound optimal on each one of those systems, and that's the mastering engineer's job, much more so than the mix engineer. Now, in terms of what you should bring to a mastering session, for a stereo mastering session, what you want to do is output your mix to a stereo file that is at the native resolution of your project. When we say native resolution, we mean the same sample rate and bit depth as your project that you worked in. Now, some workstations will allow you to do this easily. For example, workstations like Cubase and Reaper, if you were working at 44.1 kilohertz, for example, 32-bit float in your project, if that was your project's native resolution, you could output a file exactly like that. In some of the other workstations, such as Logic and Pro Tools, you might be working at a resolution where you have to output a 24-bit file. 32-bit floating point is not an option in some of those workstations right now. But regardless, you want to put it out to the highest resolution that is closest, or if possible, exactly the native resolution of your mix project. So if you'd like to learn more about how to get the most out of your experience in the studio, simply head over to precursorproductions.com and sign up for our email list. When you do that, I'm going to send you 20 videos that outline how to save time, money, and get the best product when you're working in the studio. I'm also going to offer you 10% off of any of our professional audio production services. So head over to precursorproductions.com, enter your name in our mailing list, and you'll start getting those videos and the discount immediately.